Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out. I'm gonna live inside the upside down for a minute and pretend, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, and if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to see.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town.
Bueno, so, good morning. Bienvenidos todos al primer Debug'Em All Meetup. Gracias por haber venido. Gracias a todo. ¿Se llega?
Sí,
Okay.
llega, algo llega.
Okay. So, I try to get some friends to talk about several topics. The first one is going to be Jesus from Google, who is going to talk about mixed modeling.
Meridian.
M and Meridian, of course. And we will have another 4 speakers. We will be a break after the first session, and I hope you all enjoy the day. Thank you, David, and thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to Google Madrid office, and we're very happy to host this event. I mean, we've been working with David for some time, and the collaboration with the community is essential for us. And the opportunity that we have today to make that community a little bit bigger, which is not only for Madrid and for Spain, but much bigger, and tomorrow as well in Mesurcamp, is fantastic for us. I am Jesus Martin. I am the head of data and measurement for Google Iberia, for Spain and Portugal. And in my team, we work with large companies in Spain to ensure that their whole measurement, their whole data structure for marketing is properly set up to compete in the global economy. So our goal essentially is to ensure that when they are doing campaigns with us, those campaigns are using the best data, are using the best analytics tools, and they are measuring it in the best possible way. So while we are essentially a team that works with advertisers, right, and that's our main goal, advertisers and partners and agencies who work with advertisers, it's essential for us that the technology that brings these ads live, right, works in a proper way, and that the whole technical activity, the whole infrastructure that has to support this kind of advertisers to empower a good performance is essential for us. So we try to have these two sides, right? On the one hand, we have the advertising side. On the other, we have the technology one. In that spirit, let me see if I can. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry. There you go. So, and in that spirit, we will spend a few minutes talking about something that is not that, in my opinion, or in my point of view, in my experience, doesn't belong that much to this community. The whole marketing mix modeling world, the whole research and insights world of marketing is something that traditionally has belonged not that much to the analytics community, but to the research and insights community, which is a separate one. At least, well, there is some confluence, right? But it's a separate one. And we're trying to put it together here as well, and tomorrow as well. So it's essential for us that the tools that we have been using for digital marketing and for digital analytics for the last years are evolving so much that we are putting together different worlds. And that's what we're trying to do today. So in the end, when we talk about marketing mix modeling, Meridian, and as a broader perspective, the concept of model measurement, which I wanted to introduce to you as well, in case you're not familiar with that, is the combination of some skills that are extremely present in this room and others that we will have to find elsewhere in order to make this happen. So it's a beautiful moment where we have to work much more closely with different profiles, and not only with those who are expecting from us the best tracking and the best analytic solution, but the best decisions for the marketing. And in the combination of those, this is where we need to build. So in the context where we work in, where there will be, we like to talk about 3 things always, right? And so we'll be discussing what is happening in 2025 when we're talking about marketing measurement. And there's a lot of continuous impact of regulation, right? There hasn't been a lot of movement in 2025 regarding regulation, but we are still suffering the impact of consent mode implementation, right, in Europe. So that's something that we still suffer. And we see that with large applications, where lot of discrepancies in the data that they didn't understand because they don't fully understand how content works. Then, measurement based on IDs, which is something that we are very used to, right, is less representative of the whole reality. Not only because of consent, not only because of regulation, but also because of the changes in technology. And yes, it's true, we said that third-party cookies will not go away. And we also said that there will not be another prompt in Chrome to use for users that might talk about third-party cookies, but still, even first-party identifiers are less present. And in the moment that we tend to think that we're able to measure marketing, and we only measure what we can measure with IDs, we will not be recommending the best decisions. That's the situation today. And then that might become worse because cookies might not be that available, but we have URL parameters, right? Well, we might use them as well, or we might use them partially as well, because we're looking into how browsers are trying to restrict them mostly when we are unique. And this is happening in incognito mode in Safari, it is happening in Samsung browsers, and we expect that to happen very soon to the whole traffic from Safari. So GKIDs or other IDs in the URL are for 50% of traffic in URL, 30% somewhere out. So lots of changes that while we tend to stick to what we know, we also have to let go, okay? And embrace additional methodologies. So with this context, we have less identifiers, more complexity, privacy focus, where it's true that in lyrics, we might use it for very different purposes, okay? So let me narrow that down to these two main purposes, okay? Understanding what is the full impact of marketing investment, which is a fair goal, right? And using data to optimize marketing investments, okay? We might need to use different measurement tools, right? We might need to reconcile them, we might need to use the same, we might need to have a single source of truth, or we cannot have it, right? But these are the two main goals that we want to solve for. So capture the full impact of marketing investment, to distribute budgets, to invest more in a channel, less in a channel, define targetable groups, right? And then to optimize, we need to explore the relative value of different campaigns and channels in order to decide which better tactics within each channel works better or worse. Decide budget allocation with each channels, and to test. So we need to solve for these both solutions. And the problem is that, or the situation, not problem, it's an opportunity, is that there is no single tool that fits for that, that solves for that. And there will not be, okay? At least for 3 years. So we have a lot of opportunity to put our brains into it, because there is no single tool that solves for it, so we need people, right? There is not a single artificial intelligence that can answer companies this question. So we need people using technology, right? But that will last for a couple of years at least. Hopefully, I have this optimistic view that in 3 years, hopefully all of this will be 80% of the need, right? But today, it's not possible. So we need to combine different methodologies, and this is the model measurement framework pillars, as we talk about them. We need to understand how to remember goals, okay? Understanding the full impact of marketing investment, understand how can I best optimize my marketing investment, combine attribution, which is the main tool that we have been using for digital marketing for the last, since digital marketing exists, right? And MMM, which has been used for marketing since TV became a large source of marketing since the 80s, and then it has become important again, and then incrementality experiments, which is a technique much more specific to understand how a specific campaign is impacting a business metric or a business KPI. So very, very quickly around that, what's attribution? The goal of attribution is assigning credit. So, and this is very close to us, right? If we have a click and we can find a click before the conversion, we will attribute the conversion to that click, right? And if I can build a good attribution model that looks not only at the last click, but also the previous ones, right? I'm better attributing. And if I can include the views, the post view, I can have a better attribution model, right? But in the end, it's like trying to find interactions before a conversion. And if I find it, I will attribute, right? Which is the opposite, not the opposite, right? But a different perspective to incrementality, which is you have to prove me that there was an impact. That because of that click, because of that impression, there was a conversion. Why? Because I have a control group that didn't have an impression or anything that I can compare to. Right? So which one do you think is much better to make business decisions? Attribution? Yeah? Incrementality? Yeah? What? Is it that through attribution we need to ensure that we are also providing a grasp on incrementality? Right? That we're not only trying to find the click, but we are trying to find the click that caused the conversion, right? So it's a combination of both. Definitely yes. But if we were able to do incrementality experiments, if businesses, if marketing directors were able to do incrementality experiments on their whole set of channels and strategies, they will make decisions better. But it's impossible. So we need to rely on attribution. And then we have, and the visuals of my last 1 minute talking is something like this. In the end, when you compare attribution and incrementality, what you will find is that on attribution, there is a smaller green portion of unattributed sales. And when you look at incrementality metrics, you'll find that there is a much larger base. And this is surprising for those who have been making decisions based on incrementality, based on attribution, and much worse, based on last click, right, for the last 15 years. Right? And then we have MMM, right? Let me go faster, right? Where we have a model to understand what drives sales. So it's an attempt to model reality, to put everything that you can have in time series data, to try to understand how that impacted maybe sales, but another business metrics as well. And we can include here marketing and non-marketing factors. Incrementality, using test and control, tries to take away the impact of other factors. Attribution doesn't take any kind of impact away from other factors. Right? MMM tries to do that in a model way. So once we have very briefly looked at these three methodologies, right? Very quickly to look at how attribution is moving away from deterministic and unreliable nowadays, because the post-view and post-impression is something that we can see for many reasons that you know, right? Or gardens, third-party cookies, etc. So we need model attribution. We cannot work with deterministic attribution anymore. We will look at a biased sample of the data. From incrementality, it was very difficult. We need a lot of sales, a lot of investment to do incrementality and do it properly. We are going into much easier implementations. And on MMM, we have in the past yearly MMMs, slow decision making based on MMM, and now we're moving into more frequent and granular. And this is one of the things that Meridian enables companies. So we launched in 2025 Meridian, which is an open source MMM library that has different goals. But the main goal that we have is to drive trust and thought leadership on how MMMs should measure marketing in the future. So it's probably, could be the goal of probably some people out there, right? But the adoption of Meridian is something important. But the adoption of the methodologies that Meridian allows is something much more important to us. So our goal in the end is to empower the industry to build best-in-class MMMs. We understand that companies and partners and MMM providers will use different kinds of methodologies to measure marketing. And that's what we're saying, right? Model measurement, there's no single tool to measure marketing. Right? And what we see is that the methodologies, the innovations that Meridian provides has to be everywhere, have to be everywhere. Right? That is our main goal. And today, which are those three main innovations? Which are those innovations? There are three again. So first, the assumption that MMM alone is not enough to make good decisions. So we need to calibrate MMM. And the most straightforward way to calibrate MMM is with prior knowledge that comes from incrementality. So we're looking into how to improve the accuracy of an MMM via calibration, mainly via incrementality. Then we know that traditional MMMs are not good at measuring lower funnel media, for example, search. So we need to include in those MMMs information such as GQV, which is Google Query Volume, in order to make search measurement more accurate. And in the end, we know that not all impressions are equal, so we need to include information about reach and frequency in the model to ensure that those upper funnel media is measured correctly, not only with impressions, but also with reach and frequency. A little bit of detail for each of them, okay? So that's the idea. We need different tools, we need different methodologies, and by default, Meridian enables to combine at least these two methodologies, MMM and experiments, because you can add prior knowledge to the model. Meridian is a Bayesian MMM, which is an MMM that uses Bayesian methodology, and a Bayesian methodology allows to influence the model by default, if I may say like that. So you can input priors to the model. In the end, what you're seeing, for example, a prior is that, well, this marketing investment will have a positive impact on my sales. This is a prior that you assume, right, that you introduce in the model. Another prior might be is that, well, I know that this YouTube campaign had an incrementality of 3. That knowledge is something that you can input as a prior in the model, so that when the Bayesian model is looking at the different options that can calculate for the ROI in this channel, or how much to attribute to that channel, will not look into the broader scope of possibilities, will only look into what is possible depending on the priors. So it will have an impact to be more accurate if your priors are good. And that's what we say, right? That in order to have good priors, you need to have them from incrementality experiments. Next, evaluating paid search in MMM is very complicated. That's something that we have suffered a lot. And even with the launch of Meridian, we have many challenges within Meridian to ensure that we can measure third-party search. Why? Because you only show paid search ads when there is a query. So, if there is more queries and more paid search investment, and then more sales, an MMM model will look at paid search investment, and we'll see that paid search investment went up. And also, the model will also see that the sales went up. But if you don't tell the model that it was the queries which went up in the first place, the model will attribute those sales increase to paid search. So you need to include that additional information, and you need to let the model know that this increase in this channel might come from a different source. So it attributes correctly. And then, and that's the idea, right? You add a co-founder to the model to ensure that this information is properly interpreted. Right? Which is not easy, because in some cases, paid search campaigns might not work related to the queries, right? So it's a big challenge that we have in MMMs today. While in attribution, right, if we're looking at paid search, well, that is the channel that works after a click, right? And in many cases at a very lower funnel level. So in fact, if I may say, attribution might measure more accurately paid search in some cases than an MMM if we don't take this into account, right? So we need to combine them, of course. And then lastly, most MMMs today, they tend to correlate how changes in impressions for a channel generate sales, or drive sales. Impressions, okay? Mostly impressions. Some channels they use clicks, some others use GRPs in TV, for example. In digital, it's mainly impressions. But it's not the same to show the same impression to 3 people rather than showing impressions, right, to the same person. So when we're assuming that we only have impressions, what we have is a single response curve, which means that the more impressions that I have, right, the more incremental sales that I get, to a certain point where I get diminished returns, and then it doesn't matter that I put more impressions out there, right, or more spend, that I'm not getting more sales. Makes sense, right? But that's different, because it it depends. If I can get impressions be shown to people who I never show their impression, I can get more sales, right? So if I don't take into account the reach and frequency of my campaign within the impression, I might not be driving good decisions. So we need a model that takes that into account and puts that into the diminishing relationship between frequency and incremental sales, right? And this is something that is not available. I mean, is not being done in any other MMM out there, right? Not even in ours, because reach and frequency cannot be properly measured for all channels. But it's a problem that MMM has. The MMMs have to do. And this is what we are trying to fight to solve, right? So Meridian, it's open source for everyone. You can use it, you can download it. There's a community around that. I strongly recommend you to look into it and to go for it. And then a last note, we recently announced in GML this week that we will be allowing, there is a Looker Studio dashboard ready once you have the results from Meridian, which is there was a gap in there, right? We launched Meridian, we showed some graphs, right, but not fully dynamic. So now we have a plugin ready, Looker Studio dashboard, that shows the results for planning and for budgeting. So planning and budgeting is an extremely important result outcome for MMS and for Meridian as well. Right? And last note, budgeting is something that is also becoming more important for Google Analytics. So we are launching very soon, this is in alpha, a budgeting model in Google Analytics. Sorry to switch gears so fast, right? But you will understand me in a moment. So that within Google Analytics, with the data that we have in Google Analytics, we allow users of Google Analytics to do budgeting with the information that Google Analytics has, right? So, and then build the scenarios so that depending on how much you're telling Google Analytics that you will invest or you will put into a channel, Google Analytics will estimate what will be the outcome. And we will have this kind of scenario planning. Okay? So depending on the budget that we plan, we will have this diminishing return curve ready to use, right, in Google Analytics. So the idea behind this, and one of the outcomes of having Meridian as well, is to look at how Meridian can help other tools in Google as well. And what we are looking at is how this budgeting and scenario planner needs that companies have, budgeting needs mainly, can be solved within Google Analytics. Not only using attribution in Google Analytics, but also using modeling techniques that are closer to the MMM world or to the Meridian world rather than to the attribution world. And this is what we are expecting to have very soon in Google Analytics as well. So it's good for everyone that you learn what is happening behind, and the way to do that is to learn how to apply, what problem solve, and how to technically adopt Meridian as well. And that's what I recommend. Okay. And now I'm sorry, but I cannot introduce the next speaker because I don't know where the beat will do it.
Ain't no love like a real love, but it goes so fast. All tied up like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pay to run my life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I don't felt this in ages, and I've no more patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger.
First, I'll talk about data form and data form for GA4. So, and I want to start with the question to the audience: what's your favorite feature of GA4? There's a few options, some of them real, some of them not so real. So what do you think? What's your favorite GA4 feature, guys? What you like most? BigQuery expert. So yeah, that's the same for me. GA4 is really great tool, amazing one, and of course, BigQuery expert. It's absolutely the must, even if you do all the tracking, because now to understand how you track everything, to track everything correctly with service side, with content mode, you definitely need BigQuery. And of course, after that, you can do a lot with data inside BigQuery. So that's why BigQuery, we have to enable the expert to BigQuery. And next question, okay, we have data in BigQuery, and we have ChatGPT and Gemini and all other tools. So why do we need something else? We can ask ChatGPT, please generate me the query for the GA4 dataset. All done. But actually, this is my presentation about. So I try to explain why ChatGPT is not enough and why do you need other tools to work with GA4 dataset. And my plan is I just explain GA4 data form, GA4 dataset, why we can use data form for this, some cases, and how can we learn data form. So this is the plan, and we start from data form really quickly. So we have data form for 2 years already, integrated in the BigQuery, and it's not only like separate service, it's also integrated with other GCP services like Vertex CI, notebooks, BigQuery repository. So it's built-in platform, and there is nothing to do. It's like already installed. There's no like third-party dependencies. And then data form is transformation tool. So what's transformation tool? We have raw data, and we need to prepare our tables for session, for reporting, for models. And so it's not about extraction, it's not about collection or something. This is about transformation. And really quick explanation, what's the data form? We have like concept of action or model, and model is SQL X file. Actually, it's like select statement with JavaScript helpers. And data form compile this to SQL, to select. And after that, on the second step, then you execute your model. It creates tables for you. So it means you don't need to create all these insert, merge statements, create statements. Data form do everything for you. So you only define select. You only define like business logic, the model, and it's really helpful. It's really handy. And the next thing, it's really slow, a lot of things, but dependency tree. In real case, in real life, your pipeline consists of multiple steps. And you need to run it like one by one, then previous step is ready. And data form manages everything for you. So you don't need to care, you just run your pipeline and everything run in the right order. So this is like really quick explanation what is data form. Next one, J4 dataset. J4 dataset is really beautiful. We create wonderful schema with a lot of columns, nested data, wonderful. But small surprise, or not surprise maybe for you, schema is constantly changes. So Google tried to make our life better. They provide new columns, new data, simplify the processes. But of course, it could be a problem for you because for historical data, these columns could be missed. So your models should contain logic for old data, for old schema, for new schema. You should understand these differences. Next one, it's misattribution cases. The most known, it's when you have GLC deplete, GLC ID, but still for some reason, it's like Google Organic or other sources. You want to fix it, or maybe your marketing team maybe like forgot to add UTM sources, or did it like wrong, and you want to fix everything. So but again, it's not like one-time task. It's always happens like this. You fix something, you find something new. So this is like standard task, it's standard process. And if you need to do this, there's a lot of sources of truth inside the data frame. So if there is collected traffic source, okay, we can use it. If it's not, we go to event params. If there's no, we go to page location and something like this. So it become a little bit complicated, but yes, we have all the data. Attribution, of course, attribution is really huge topic. We use it, and it's something like spaceship, but here I talk about the basic thing, like last known direct attribution. If you want to do it yourself, you know J4, now ignore, if you have multiple time parameters, multiple during one session, J4 ignore it and take only the first one. But if the next section is direct, it takes the last one. So you always need, then you build yourself, if you try to build attribution yourself, you always need to save the first and last source. But sometimes if you want to build a data-driven attribution or more complex model, you need to save all page points, all source and medium for all sessions. And again, it's become more and more complicated. And of course, a lot of problems with data cleaning. The most usual one, it's like when Google do export J4 data to BigQuery, it tries to guess the right column, the right type by the value. And if value could be different, Google could export value to different columns, to int or to float, to double, and you need somehow to process all these columns. The worst case, if you have string, and string looks like a number. In this case, Google can truncate or change the value. So again, but that's like only a couple of things. I just want to tell you, so it's really good to have something on top of data sets, some tool that can help you to fix all these problems. And that's why I believe that Dataform is a really good tool for this. So first of all, with Dataform, you can create the structure. So you can create structure of all your models, and Google provides some recommendation. How should you store? What folder should you create? What output folders should you? What output tables should you have? So it's really handy to have it from the very beginning, because then you can add new models, new tables in this structure. The next thing, this is data cleaning. As I said, it could be a lot of cases, and you can build small JavaScript helpers to like handle everything and create like library of all these JavaScript helpers and reuse it across all your projects. Next thing is data quality. Data quality is absolutely a huge topic, and again, Dataform provides some foundation for this. They call it assertions, so it's like SQL checks for tables, and assertions could be different type of assertions, like validity, uniqueness, and so on and so on. If you want to have some ideas what type of assertions you should apply, what type of checks you should apply for J4 data, Sivash created really great Watson project. Please check this out. It's really good starting point for this. And next, on assertions and functions are not enough. On top of this, it's great to have execution logs, to know the history of execution, to know the context of all error. If you use thresholds, it's also great to have the history of threshold changes. And if you want to do something advanced, you can build JSON schema to describe all your events, all your expected parameters, all your validations on top of this. And then, of course, notifications. If something goes wrong, you need to get these notifications. And because the data form itself is part of GCP, it's part of the platform, you can subscribe on data forms execution events like success or fail. And based on this event, you can send pops-up events, you can run cloud functions, you can send, I don't know, application integration, so you can do a lot of things. And this is like really benefit of the platform and to be part of the platform. And next thing, of course, is costs. And for costs, Dataform provides like simple recommendation. First of all, you should always query raw data as well like once. And after that, save the data in small tables and use them in reports. And the second thing, incrementality, of course, you shouldn't like process all your data all days every day, so you should take on the last couple of days and prepare the data for this. Next thing, of course, partitioning and clustering. It's also good to help to reduce the cost, and BigQuery have configurations option for this. And the last thing I want to mention is labels. Labels, it's really good if you want to build some sort of reports to understand the cost of your data, the cost of the cost of the storage, and also you can get the cost of the query execution. So if you need, you can provide different labels for different reports, and for each report or for each model, you can calculate how exact this model costs, how exact this report costs. It's really, really useful. Again, if you want to get more information, please read this Julia's guide. It's a really good one. Okay, so we have data, we prepare everything, we clean everything. What we do next? How can we get some profit out of this? And just again, just a couple of ideas, just for you to understand that J4 now, it's not only interface, it's mainly BigQuery, it's mainly raw data. So what you can do on top of this? Of course, first of all, reporting. And here, I recommend it to follow Mehdi. He created a lot of great content about data, Looker Studio, and also he created a lot of free templates. You can use them to start working with data. Amazing source. So next thing, anomaly detection. You can use BigQuery ML to define the anomaly detection models, and later you can execute this model to find these anomalies. And you can use this inside your data form pipelines. So it means as soon as your data ready, as soon as your daily data like cleaned and checked, you can run your models, you can run your predictions. Again, it's integrated. You can use it inside data, inside your pipelines. But BigQuery ML is not only about anomalies. It's really like a lot of things you can do, and I really recommend it to check out these Google marketing solutions. More than 100 repositories. It's open source. They're all free. They're not officially supported by Google, but they're really good. Provide a lot of great solutions. And one of these solutions is Compass. And Compass, we provide examples how to prepare data and also how to calculate and ensure they using BigQuery ML. So absolutely recommend, really great repositories. But if BigQuery ML is not enough for you, you also can use Python. You can use Python notebooks now, notebooks integrated in BigQuery, but also they integrated in Dataform. Actually, Dataform execute scheduling inside BigQuery for notebooks. So it means, again, after everything is ready, after everything is cleaned, you can run your models, you can run your Python notebooks. So you can do everything you want, actually, with Python. And agents, of course, an MCP toolbox for dataset. You can define the MCP server for your tables, and your agents could use this data themselves. They could decide like to ask for example, information about session, information about conversions. So you could use like you can create like pipelines, and agents can do this stuff like doing these pipelines. So. And of course, ChatGPT. Yeah. Finally, we started from ChatGPT. Of course, you can use ChatGPT to ask to generate SQL for prepared data sets, for prepared tables. But again, it's much, much better because your data is cleaned. You can trust your number, you can trust your figures, you can trust your data. And of course, after that, you could use Chat, you could use Gemini, any or agents. So, but only after you prepare everything and you sure that everything is like correct. So last thing, so if you decided to learn more about Dataform, of course the documentation is a great starting point, but also please follow these guys. They created a lot of great content in LinkedIn on their blog posts. So it's that's good, really good starting point. And then of course the best way is learning from doing, learning from code. I recommend it again from Google Marketing Solutions, this J4 Dataform repository created by Pia. Really good one. And also, I'm together with Jules, Christian, Simon, and Johan. We created another solution. They call it also J4 Dataform, really original, but okay. And yes, but they can follow these guys. They also create a lot of content about data form, and and they created our repository. It's free and open source for the same, like, to prepare the data, and also we wanted to simplify like the starting process. So if you never worked before with GCP, it could be difficult for you to enable anything to do this. So we created really simple, like, one-click installer, and you can install your model and start using it. So there is no excuse, guys. Please try it. It's free. So, and yeah, of course, you can learn data from or can use it in production. So that's actually all I want to tell about the J4 and data form. And my final thoughts, before that, if you was like tracking engineer, now Google J4 is moved to GCP platform. It's more and more integrated, and we become more and more GCP data engineers. So that's why I think the tools like Dataform, it's absolutely worth to spend time to learn this. So please, guys, J4 and Dataform is better together. Thank you, David, and please, if you have any question, connect on LinkedIn. I will be happy to answer. Thanks, guys. That's
Ain't no love like a real love, but it goes so fast. All tied up like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pay to my love life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I've no more patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger. You're stronger.
So, hi, my name is Denis, and I am founder at Stake. Also, I'm a very technical person. Usually, I'm responsible for all very hard technical side regarding G4 or server-side GTM or any other server-side tracking. So today I will speak about CRM conversions and how to track them and why it's important, describe in little details, and you will understand why I talk about this now. So, as you know, most of retailers have like offline stores and online stores, and that's why the part of the data sits only inside the CRM that you need to track. Besides this, they're all very popular that you have data like landing pages with simple web form, like give your contact, telephone, and that's it. You click and send this as conversion to GA4, whatever, and forget about this. But reality is that conversion happens not at that moment, but when sales call somebody and confirm that this person will buy something, and only this is real conversion. So keep this in mind. So there is a lot of sources from where you can get the proper data. It can be payment processing tools, offline sales, quality leads from the calls, uh, like all of them. But there is no, like, I don't know, from my opinion, people now afraid to gather this data and send to G4, Meta, TikTok, whatever. Some, like, they think, everybody think it's like very hard to do. But reality is it's similar to what to do in the GDM web. You just click a few texts and it's done. So there is some impression numbers. They are fully official. There is a huge test from Meta how your CRM data can help you, and you can see that it is around 15% reduction in the cost per click. But what is more important is the second number, this 44%. Why is it so important? Like I said, there are guys who use two steps conversions. You have landing form, put number, then the sales call this person. And if you send to Meta or Google work similarly, the data can mark conversions on the site as a conversion and optimize your campaigns to the person who fills the form. It not perform as you wanted. Why? Because real conversions happening on the call. So maybe you will target people who do not, for example, have enough money to buy something. And your Google ads or Meta ads will show everything great. We targeted the right people, conversions is going, but real conversion is happening. And if you do like this multi-stage proper conversioning, it will help you to proper attribute people and gather more data. And that's why you see this huge number of like more leads compared to not tracking this few steps process. So how to make this happen? How to track this second step that you probably not now tracking? Overall, it's look like this, pretty simple. Get some data from somewhere. I will. It's in our case. I will show it how to get data from CRMs, but because from our experience with clients, usually they have some kind of CRM where they have all real conversions. The second, you need some server-side solution. It can be a few of them, and there you need to decide where you will send this data. Currently, all major platforms support offline data, and there is no any problems to send data to Meta, Google, TikTok, Snapchat, I don't know, LinkedIn, whatever. So there is two popular ways to do this. Probably you heard about Copy Gateway, Signals Gateway, TikTok Gateway, Snapchat Gateway, whatever. There is a bunch of these gateways. Google Gateway was released through these gateways. You can send data. So, and another option is then send this data through server GTM. Both options visible. It's a little bit different in configuration, but let's start with gateways. How to implement this through gateways? There is two options how you can implement this through copy gateways. First one, you need to set up a webhook inside your CRM system. The second option, you can install some apps that what will do this for you. Currently, we made it apps for HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive, Go High Level, and others. They're completely free. You can use them not paying anybody. What they do, they grab data from CRM, and when conversion happens, this conversion is sent to desired endpoint. It's really easy to set up. It's basically you install app, click give permission, decide where to send data, where to send conversion, and this conversion will be delivered to your gateway. Another option is this webhooks. So using webhooks, for example, in HubSpot, they have pretty good webhook builder.
you can utilize it to send metadata and user data to your gateway. So this is apps that I described. On the slide you see 4. We already have 5 and soon release more. And like you can use it without, like, you don't need to use tape or something. You can use it without with any platform, server-side platform, where you want to have these conversions. And this how apps actually look like. So you can choose to which destination send data, what data you want to send. For example, in this case on screenshot we say send email, phone number and city. Usually in CRM systems you have really a lot of data, and using this data you can also not only send conversions but also send like audience, like enrich your audience lists. Actually 2 days ago Google released a data management API, so now you can easily, like, using it, send data to Google. Meta had it before, so, and I think other platforms will soon provide APIs for gathering data about audiences without conversion. I think it will be huge in next 6 months, and you will hear about this a lot. Another option, like I described it, one option is copy gateways. It's pretty simple. There is like not too much you can do. Another option is server-side GTM. In this option, there is much more things and destinations are. For example, Microsoft currently don't have gateway solutions, so there are no way to send data directly there without SGTM, or similar for Pinterest and a bunch of others. So how it look like for server-side GTM? To get data to server-side GTM, custom data, you need use some kind of client, not GA4 client, but we use Data client, and it's pretty popular now. It can receive any data to server-side GTM. And then of course set up tags on where you can where you want to send data. Like described, webhooks also can be used with server-side GTM. So you can go to your I don't know, Salesforce, Pipedrive, whatever, go to webhook section, and there like create a webhook that sends data to your server GTM. It's really very straightforward, and in most situation it is like you can open like just Google documentation, step by step, send all data. On GTM you will see it's like very similar to what you have from web GTM request, like user data, I don't know, some parameters about conversion, value, etc. Yeah, so it's example you can see here. It's how data can look like from CRM. Yeah, and like I said, the main benefit why you should use why you should SGTM instead gateways, with server-side GTM, you can send data from CRM systems to actually to all platforms and affiliates. And what else you can do with SGTM in this case? Basically, it's how our initial plans look like. We get some data from CRM, send it to service solution, and then do destination. But what we do some kind of enrichment. Why this part is important? In reality, like I described it, you had one step, and this is very important. If you properly set up this 2 steps conversion, first on landing and second on the call, you need to somehow stitch these conversions and then only send to platforms with more data. Because, for example, if you're able to stitch these conversions, that means in the second conversion you will send not only personal user data, but for example Gclead, Facebook lead, Snapchat lead. In CRM systems usually you don't have this data, and that's why you need some store that you can use on server-side GTM to store your conversions and all data that you gathered in first stage. So, for example, if you have a lead uh, from Google Ads on your web page, then person fills the form, click submit. With this submit, you send to server data about this user, like a name, surname, email, and which is very important, gclead parameter. Then when somebody calls to this client and confirm sales in CRM, in this case you have again email and phone, but maybe some additional parameters like value of how much is this person, like to what price committed this client, or which products this person buy, and you send this again to server-side GTM. But how to stitch gclead with this conversion? Because in CRM you don't have what ads campaign bring it use this client. So for this you need to use some additional storage. It can be Firebase, and if you use Stape, it can be Stape store. We actually done this pretty like variables for SGTM that can do almost all for you automatically. Basically, they stitch customer conversions in all stages, so you not really should think in all about this. We have like a blog post on how exactly you can use this. So on this flow, you can see how data flow look like, full data flow look like, and yeah, data come, you look up in database and reach data, and then only send to destination. What also important, when you look information in database, it's not only one source of data. Currently, from like I don't know, currently clients started to look up also data from lead feeder, customer IO, and other services. Maybe you heard like you put email to the service, and they show all other information from which company is this customer, from which city, etc. And now what people do is they basically using server side enrich data that not really belongs to them. They get this data from other sources what provides the data. Also, it's very popular Datacom. So from there you also can get user information and then send to Meta or any other destination. For example, usually like maybe you receive some emails like your name, your company, and some like details. Basically, there is services that getting like data about you um, by email, phone, whatever, provide all of this data. Then you can send this data, for example, to Klaviyo or Mandrill to or any other email system. And from there, getting all of this information, you can send personalized email. So using like this enrichment step on server side, you can do like a lot of small things that you not like expect to do usually. So in conclusion, so what I recommend to start doing everybody, and what I hear a lot from Google specialists and Meta specialists, you need to start gather audiences not only on web, but from CRM system, from calls, from anywhere you can, and send this with conversions and gather audiences from all sources that available for you. Well, that was previously mentioning on today, that basically further down cookies, third-party cookies not gone, but there are more restrictions is to come. So to have proper attribution, you need to do all of these extra steps to align with current situation. So thank you, and if you will have any questions, come to me after the presentation. I will happy to answer.
Ain't no love like a real love, but it goes so fast.
You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. Casting on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me. Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me can make me
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I
second alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Don't stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares too. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Do you remember how you held me then? Now you got me reaching out. And do you see you got me falling in more times than I can get out. Down in the deep of my mind, I call for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, how long do I got to keep you, to keep you? Down in the deep of my mind, I call for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, trying so hard not to keep you, to keep you.
Can I be your superhero? Superhero. Can I be your superhero? Superhero. Superhero. Superhero.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah, take you like a pill.
I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. That it feels right. Feels right. So right, so right, so right. I'm just going with the gut. Never had a doubt, felt like this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet. Hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella loved. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart. Yeah, I won't stop charging, you go and come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels right.
Rising with each beat of the music is bringing little flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're inviting the night in. Welcome, my heart so full, I'm devoting myself to the night. There's no motive, we're just listening, we're existing. We stay when the music plays, but let's drop it low and the people sway.
A little bit of light, a little bit of gold. Under pressure, you start to fold like a diamond from gold. Maybe you are something I cannot define. Maybe you are the fallen kind. I lay in bed with violence, the silent side of me. We see where fire starts to breathe. When I would lay in silence, the voice inside of me made me use my mind right. Use my mind right. Use my mind right.
We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. We're gonna burn it down. Burn it down. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder. I killed it, it's murder.
I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker.
Show them. Change the station with a new shit. Show them.
Turn toward me and look so weak. I've never seen you with such tired eyes. And everything we said we'd be, we just traded for a suit coat and a tie. And underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, the fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. You're silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. You're silent for the wind is cold. You must return to the wild.
walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
Crack it. cracking.
When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Clear sky. Without you, I remember myself, my name. Forgot about all you tried to change. Familiar was the sound of your voice as I continue to walk on by. It has been a year and now I'm living on the line. It has been a year and now I'm thinking what's mine, that I'm better off right here without you. That I'm better off right here without you. That I'm better off right here without you. I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. tape my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. I wanna taste your content, hold your breath and feel the tension.
Okay. David, is it working fine? Yeah. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. Hope the coffee was tasty. Um, so before jumping into the content, I talked to David to send you the slides of today's presentations, so you don't have to take more pictures if you don't need to. And we have two more talks to go today. The first one is going to be around apps, right? And it's kind of a forgotten area in the analytics side, and I think it's very relevant nowadays. Now it's becoming more strategic. More and more conversions are flowing to the apps, and we need to make sure that we attribute them correctly and to know the customers as well in the app environment. So yeah, before jumping into, well, I'm Jaime. I'm analytics lead in Google Spain. I think I met some of you already. Before jumping into the specifics of app analytics in Google Analytics, I wanted to share how we are working with clients and the industry to really level up how clients are using GA, right? So this very ugly slide is, I made it like a couple of months ago. From a point of view, first we need to make sure that the data quality is the best data possible. We have high data confidence. And the first thing I wrote, it was better app data. Because as you know, GA4, we have an hybrid platform where we merge all the app and web events. We have the same naming conventions, and that is very powerful in order to understand better the data, cross-device insights, cross-device audiences, etc., etc. But if we messed up the app data, nothing works, right? So I've seen many implementations around apps, in this case around Firebase, that are not following the best practices, or consent mode is not well implemented, or the web views are being tracked without app data or app technology. So that messes up all the data, duplicates sessions, users, and we need to fix that. And this kind of maturity journey is important because, as you know, last year we transitioned from Universal to GA4, and it's true that probably the product wasn't in the best shape 1 year ago. We had a couple of bugs, I know. And it's a little bit more complex, you know, the implementation, the modeling, the granularity, etc. There are a little bit some areas where we need to really understand better the technology. So that's why the first step is to actually, you know, be confident again in your setup, having UTMs, auto tagging, user-provided data and user ID. Very important, the user ID part for apps as well, consent mode. But I also grow their knowledge because I've seen many clients complaining like, I cannot pull this report, I don't understand this, that. Have you actually read the Help Center article? Because many times that's not the case, and the technology is very different. Although the look and feel and the colors are similar, and the name is the same, it's Google Analytics, the product is totally different. And that's the first step, right? Like having the best setup, getting to know the platform, and then really understanding the new features and how reporting works, how we can understand modeling when it kicks in, how we can create, you know, basic audiences, personalizing and customizing the UI as well is very important to make it relevant to the rest of the teams. And the last point is like, okay, Jesus was talking about Meridian and incrementality and how big businesses want to make better decisions in order to bring more revenue, of course. And we want analytics to have a role in it. You know, as you know, at the moment we have some limitations for attribution because we don't have post-view conversions in data-driven attribution in GA. We only have post-engaged views in YouTube, which, okay, help us a little bit to understand some contributions in the YouTube channels, but you know, DDA in analytics is not the place to go if you want to understand how your display, video, even paid social channels are performing from your business perspective. But we really believe that attribution in GA is unique. I'm very optimistic. I'm proud, you know, working in Google Analytics because I believe that we have the best the best analytics platform out there, the newest, that's for sure. And we are very much improving it month after month. Yesterday was the Google Marketing Live when we announced new features. Our roadmap is super heavy. We are bringing back those post-view conversions to DDA, so we make attribution analytics relevant again to make better business decisions. So in the end, it's not about Meridian or Google Analytics or incrementality or DDA. As Jesus mentioned, it's about how we use all of them in the best possible way. But in my opinion, DDA must be the foundation, right? Is the one deterministic solution when we have all the data, all the touch points, and we really believe that we can get more KPIs from DDA, harnessing Google's data as well, like modeling, all the enhanced conversions and user-provided data, that these features are pulling Google data, mixing it with your first-party data, and providing attribution and better measurement. So those features are only available in Google Analytics, right? That's why we think that Google Analytics is the best and more advanced attribution solution out there. Plus, it's free for most of you. So we really want to make sure that our clients are leveraging DDA, understanding modeling, and getting to love a little bit more analytics that we used to do like a few years ago with Universal. Okay, so that was a little bit of intro, you know, where we are at the moment in the GA4 journey. Still a long way to go because most of the clients are still in this phase 1 area, getting to fix the data and understanding more the platform. And in that area, you know, app analytics is something that is often forgotten. And today I wanted to share some best practices, not the basics, because of course, you know, Firebase is our SDK. It's quite easy to implement. You install the SDK, automatically brings all the automatic collected events, like the screen views, first open, etc. Then you collect the rest of the events as usual. But I wanted to dig a little bit deeper on attribution, on the ecosystem, on app measurement, I'm sharing some best practices in order for you to make sure that you have the best data quality possible in the app. So historically, we had the web attribution solutions like Adobe or Google Analytics or Campaign Manager, and these are not great, for attributing app channels to app conversions, or even web channels to app conversions. That might happen as well. And of course, we have the app attribution platforms, the Apps Flyer, Adjust, these solutions that are pure plays in the app ecosystem and are more relevant for very app-focused clients. And now, thanks to GA4, we have a more hybrid platform, like a web and app analytics platform where we can understand more user behavior between the two platforms, how channels in both platforms are contributing to the business, etc. Right? Like these cross-device user journeys as well. So that's the theory. That would be amazing to have all the data and all the use cases there, like with the cross-device enabled. But sometimes it's trickier than that, right? Like, for instance, when we talk about attribution and we talk on paid channels, of course, Adobe Analytics or GA can attribute perfectly all activity that's happening in the web environment. Apps Flyer is not a solution for that. But when we talk about conversion happening in the app environment, iOS or Android, and traffic coming either for web campaigns or from app-specific campaigns, here, of course, Apps Flyer can be more complete solutions. We'll understand in a bit why. But analytics also has quite strong capabilities in that sense. And sometimes those are not well configured, and we wanted to share how to set up, GA in the best way, so you can really get insights on your app business and all your marketing channels, how they are performing against the app conversions and overall business. So as I mentioned, right, like Google Analytics for Firebase is like a module within the Firebase world that collects all the data. And if you are an app developer, probably you are familiar with the Firebase console, where you have some reports there, and yeah, we have some basic integrations with ad networks. Actually, we announced yesterday that we are partnering up with TikTok to bring TikTok data to analytics, in post-impression conversions as well, etc. So we are improving in that sense. But here you see the disclaimer: we will not have meta post-impression data, right? So if you are investing heavily in meta, and if you are a pure player, probably you are going to need an Apps Flyer, on Adjust, Coachella, these kind of partners. They do have partnerships with Google, with Meta, with all the networks. So they will have a better visibility to attribute those ad networks. So yeah, Firebase SDK is the first step, in order to get all the data. Of course, I'm not going to talk about all the Firebase family of technologies. We just announced as well Firebase Studio, that is these vibe coding solutions that you can actually. I tried it. I was about to include a demo of Firebase Studio, but it was a bit too much of a content. But it's amazing. You can ask him, can you create an app of recipes from pictures, and in 30 seconds you have a prototype of the app. You can really tweak it and change it, and it's an end-to-end solution. You have all the storage, the servers, the GCP setup behind it, and it's amazing. So Firebase is much more than analytics. You can also personalize CRO solutions, etc., etc. But from the marketing perspective, from analytics perspective, the only piece of technology that is important to us is Analytics for Firebase, which is the SDK that collects the data. Of course, now it's the only Google Analytics SDK, the only Google SDK that exists. We used to have like a Google Analytics Universal SDK, a Google Tag Manager SDK, I think there was even an apps SDK back in the days, but now we only have Firebase SDK. This SDK is going to allow to enable many other features in Google technologies, like of course in Google Ads we are going to enable target ROAS, audiences in app campaigns. It's going to you can also connect Apps Flyer to Google Ads and run campaigns, but you know, if you have Firebase, it's going to be more accurate, a little bit better performance. We have more signals, so it's definitely an SDK to have in place in order to harness all the capabilities in the Google technology. So yeah, as I mentioned, right, this is just a little bit of context on the app ecosystem. If you are a huge investor, if you invest huge money in apps or in Meta and most of your revenue is coming via iOS and Android, probably you need one of these attribution platforms specific for apps. If not, Google Analytics can be good enough, you know, to understand your business and your attribution in the app environments as well. So a little bit of best practices and kind of common mistakes that we see in implementations and things to avoid. Web views, right? So probably the majority of the apps have some sections that are still web views because they have a different checkout funnel in the e-commerce that is the web view or the login area. So if you have an area of the app that is a web view, the most common behavior is to track that web view with G tag or with Tag Manager, right? Just don't do that because you are duplicating users, you are duplicating sessions, and the attribution is not going to work because that web session is going to come from nowhere, so it's going to be a direct. So just avoid that, right? So first of all is implementing this native interface and JavaScript handlers that we have in Firebase. Basically, it's a way to detect a web event and log a Firebase event, like nativize these kind of events to Firebase language, and then make sure that you are not firing the web tracking for that web view traffic, because we've seen some clients that they implement correctly the JavaScript handlers and track via Firebase all these events, but then they keep tracking via Tag Manager all this traffic, and they have duplicated events. So you can use, for instance, a user agent. You know, the web views in a specific app, they always have a specific user agent that you can identify and make sure not to fire the web tracking when that user agent is present. You can also use a cookie ID if you have a specific ID, a cookie ID for that web view. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So in the end, we are in this case, right? Like if we have a web view within an app, every little piece of information that comes out from this setup needs to come via the iOS or Android streams. Otherwise, the data is going to be messed up. iOS, right? iOS is trickier. Apple don't like identifiers, so we are trying to avoid that limitation. So we have specific solutions for iOS. Let me start with ATT, right? ATT came out 3-4 years ago. It's a specific consent that Apple provides. It's optional, but very, very recommended, especially if you are investing in paid channels, because ATT is a consent that opens when you open the app, but actually before opening the app in the iOS environment, looks like this, and it manages the access to the IDFA identifier, which is the third-party cookie in an app environment. So we recommend a lot to implement it because although the consent ratios are pretty low, we see 25-30% of acceptance rates. This 30% is huge because we are able to attribute correctly to other channels, to paid channels. Plus, as you know, in GA4, modeling is a big part of the story. So this modeling is going to work much better in iOS if we have this 30% of data. We are able to provide you with more accurate modeling if we have the ATT. Then we have iOS on-device measurement. It's a specific Firebase feature, very similar to enhanced conversion or user-provided data. It's a reserved variable to save the email, the hashed email of the clients, in order to attribute and to measure conversions in a better way. So these two are features that are mandatory. In my ATT is optional, but for me, I say it's mandatory to my clients. And then we have the SK Ad Network that now is called Ad Attribution Kit. It's a specific solution that Apple provides in order to give back value and conversions to the ad network channels. So you can implement it in analytics, in Google Ads, in probably the rest of programmatic tools as well, the MarTech tools. So it's important, especially if you are running app campaigns, if you really want to understand that purchase, the value of that purchase, and attribute it to app campaigns. So those three are specific solutions for iOS that we recommend. Then consent mode. I know you are already bored of hearing us talking about the consent mode, but in apps, we are coming a bit later. Like, okay, we first started talking about consent mode in the web environment, but in apps now, we need these 4 variables to be granted and to be used in order for our features to work well, right? Like, these 2 are kind of new variables. Just make sure if you are implementing consent mode in the app environment to include those 2 variables. And of course, as you remember, consent mode has 2 different approaches for the implementation. The basic one is do not track until nothing. Don't fire the SDK until we have a granted consent. Or the advanced one, which is don't use identifiers, but just run the SDK so we can get the events flow going and we have some visibility on the measurement. We of course recommend advanced because we enable modeling with advanced. We are able to understand how much traffic we got last month, last week, even though that traffic might have rejected cookies. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And we've seen many implementations that are not ideal. So if you get many not set variables or traffic, etc., it might be related to consent mode. And of course, as I mentioned, right, the advanced implementation is going to help. It's going to help the property to get more data, and that modeling that we were talking about is going to be more accurate as well. So in iOS, as I mentioned, the piece of the cake, which is modeling, is much bigger. So the more signals we have, the better the measurement in iOS. Then we have Web2App Connect. For those of you who are running web campaigns and you are optimizing target ROAS or target CPA and you are including web conversions, why don't you include the app conversions as well? Like in the end, you want to maximize purchases at the end of the month. If you include the app conversions, of course, there must be deep links pointing to the apps. The campaign is going to perform much better because if one user has the app installed, it's going to redirect that user to the app. We know, apps they have much better CTRs and more engagement because they are easier to use. So it's very relevant to have this kind of hybrid campaigns and point the traffic either to the web or the app, depending on which case they are. So this is very. We used to call it Appify in the past. Now we call it Web2App Connect, and it's very relevant. And we don't see many, even big advertisers implementing this. User ID is definitely something that needs to be in place in order to have better signals and then being able to report on those campaigns in a better way. Deep links, as I mentioned. And then, well, use those two conversions. As you know, in Google Analytics, we have only one purchase, and they can come from iOS, from web, Android, wherever. But it's only one type of event. When you see that purchase in Google Ads, you will see 3 type of events because it's like a split. You have web purchase, the iOS, and the Android purchase. You can use the 3 of them as the primary conversion in one campaign to benefit from these better signals in the campaign. This is just a case we saw in Adidas last year. The numbers were amazing for them, right? Like many people, they have the Adidas app installed, especially in Germany, and they were pointing traffic to the app in a hybrid campaign, and the results were amazing in that sense. And then just a couple of best practices that sometimes we forget about them. First is audiences. We were talking, Ernesto and I, about audiences just now in the break, and I heard a colleague of mine yesterday actually say, no, audiences, that's so 2019. You know, like, yeah, of course it's not as relevant as it used to be, but they still bring value. You know, they are very valid signals for our media efforts, and they are easy to use. Of course, analytics audiences, they need to have consent in the Google account for personalized advertising, consent in the consent banner, for being able to push that audience to Google Ads. So the match rates are not ideal, especially in Europe. You know, you have 1,000 users in an audience in analytics, probably that audience in ads, maybe 200, 300 if you're lucky. So probably if you are just using more general audiences like purchases or all visitors, makes sense to create those audiences within the Google Ads environment. But Google Analytics is way more advanced in creating audiences. We have predictive audiences, we have cross-device audiences, people who have purchased in the web but have the app installed but never have purchased via the app. So you can create that audience and trying to engage them via app. So if you create these audiences, a full portfolio of advanced audiences in analytics, then you can complement and harness those in the media campaigns. You can use them, for instance, for PMAX, you can use them only at like signal, like audience signals, and have better signaling for the algorithm. But in other campaigns, you can exclude those audiences, target those audiences, use the audience expansions, right? Like give me some users similars to these ones. So if you have a really high lifetime value set of customers, you can exclude them from the campaign because they are already high value customers. They are returning to your campaigns, and you can ask the campaign to bring you more of those kind of users. So in the end, there are many possibilities, and now analytics is becoming more like a central hub because it's via the new audience export API, we are able to connect with many different third parties as well. Of course, the matching rate is always via emails and CRM identifiers, but you know, you can harness those capabilities and those audiences already created in GA to other third parties. And then, well, cross-device reporting. Here, reporting overall in GA is a tricky subject because we've seen many advanced use cases using BigQuery ML or even Looker Studio. But I tell you where the product is going, right? In BigQuery, we don't have modeling. Everything is last click. We don't have enhanced conversions, and we cannot leverage this match between Google data and your first-party data. We don't have DDA. No, DDA itself is something that is trained with your own specific data week after week, and now that it's been announced that post-conversion post-view conversions are coming back to DDA, you know, it's becoming more relevant. So that's why the UI, although as I mentioned probably last year wasn't that well prepared and we had a few bugs in the UI, but now it's becoming more and more relevant and easier to use and more flexible. And the idea is that we have these standard reports, the explorations, and another spoiler, in explorations we are launching as well dashboarding, so to be able to have like kind of Looker Studio reports, not only separate tabs with specific visualizations. So all these developments are coming to the UI, and in the UI, as I mentioned, we do have modeling. In the standard reports, we don't have sampling, so if you have sampling, you get like a note saying, okay, if you want faster results or more accurate results, and you click on the accurate results, and there is no sampling. So we need to get back to the UI for many, many cases, right? It's true that, as I mentioned, now it's a little bit more complex. Even the attribution, we have session scope, first user scope, event scope for more advertising related reports. So it's a bit confusing with the granularity, with expanded data sets for the cardinality. So us, the analytics teams and the data teams, we are more important than ever in order to prepare the data, prepare the UI, give access to the marketing team, to the commercial team, to specific reports, because now we have like user assigned collections as well. Like I can personalize all the UI for the marketing team, and they will see a totally different UI that myself. I have like admin access, and I have a different set of reports. So maximizing the standard reports is key in my view. You know, like even for more sophisticated clients, if they want to leverage data-driven attribution, modeling, etc., that's the way. And then explorations, of course, is the second step, right? For a more advanced ad hoc report, we can create an exploration. Now we can share an exploration between properties. Now we can create a segment from one exploration and use it in a different exploration. That's very like straightforward. It wasn't in the tool like a few months back. So as I mentioned, the interface is evolving very rapidly, and we are doubling down the efforts in the UI. I haven't included these slides or the roadmap, but we are launching this year as well budgeting and attribution reports. No? A part of the classical attribution reports, we are going to have like forecasting and planning reports to be able to do media planning, understanding ROAS and the effectiveness of these channels, not only Google or third-party ones. You can upload via data import costs of your paid social channels, etc., etc. So we see more and more value coming out from the UI, and I think it's relevant, to check again all the developments and try to bring some of the reporting back to the UI. Of course, if you are mixing it with other data sources, Looker Studio or Tableau is the place to go. But if you are talking about analytics data, the UI is the place to go. And last, just 2 minutes more, it's a pretty new launch about server-side tagging. You know that we launched server-side tagging for web containers a while ago. We've launched last year server-side for apps, which is pretty straightforward because basically all the data layer is your Firebase implementation. You already have all the events, all the parameters being collected. If you want to move to server containers for apps, which it makes sense in terms of security, in terms of maintenance of the SDK, if you want to enrich data real time, etc., you can do so now. This is the typical setup, where we had in web. Now we can do the same with Firebase, but with a little difference, because in an app we don't have floodlights or Google Ads tracking functioning. So if we want to have a floodlight tag or we want to have a Google Ads tracking tag, we need to do it via Google Analytics integration. We don't have the templates. We don't have the templates for that in the server container in the app environment. So this is the kind of approach. We do have tags for custom and third-party providers, And if you want to do so, you need to either use Cloud Run in Google Cloud Platform or Azure or Amazon as well. So there is a cost calculator that you can use in the Cloud Run portal if you want to understand how much money, because of course the server needs to be maintained. Depending on your traffic, might be 50 euros per month or 500 euros per month. So make sure that it's not the same, like, you know, the Zara app, the fashion brand, than my blog post. So make sure that you check those costs in the calculator. And yeah, this allows you to, you know, enrich, for instance, with databases, redact some specific parameters if you need so, before sending the data to analytics. So from privacy perspective, many DPOs like this, sometimes from a measurement perspective, makes sense as well to enrich the data. And of course, apart from the typical benefits of server-side implementation, we have total compatibility with modeling, with on-device measurement, these features that I mentioned about Firebase. So we have total compatibility with Google Ads and analytics. So yeah, that was it. I don't know if you guys have any question regarding apps, analytics. Okay. Great, thank you.
Ain't no love like a real love, but it goes so fast. All tied up like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pay to run my life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I've no more patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger.
I sat in an Uber, right? So 25 minutes I sat in the airport, 40 minutes I sat on a plane. I'm kind of a little jet surprised right now because it's fucking intense. So, but good to see you here. And it's, yeah, I'm really sad that I missed the rest of the program because, well, but the company I co-founded, we had our 20th anniversary yesterday. So I had to stay in Copenhagen with our people and get drunk and stuff. So I was also, it's a challenge being semi-jet lagged on that. But honestly, this is amazing, and I really appreciate Google being able to let me share this presentation with you, because actually it's supposed to be only a presentation that will be shared for the Partner Summit in Paris next week. So you're going to get the sneak redacted preview of something very secret. So also why I try to make it like look extra mysterious, right? So for the ones that don't know, I'm Sten Rasmussen, co-founder of IH Nordic in Copenhagen. We've been in business for, yeah, surprise, 20 years. Actually, this is our actual birthday, but one of the things that we've done during the 20 years, we looked at the data that around the business. And what we did in 2017, we did our own digital transformation. So everybody at IH only works 4 days, 30 hours with a full salary. Because then that's the power of data. If we use it right, we can work smarter and not necessarily harder. And yes, people play equal amounts of ping pong and drink equal amount of coffee and have same length of lunches. So it's really just about having the approach to data. And I guess that's my story, right? I just saw somebody talking about Google Tag Manager. Super nice. Without it, I would be nowhere, because that's the data quality I need to tell my stories. Ask me to do something in Tag Manager, and I guess probably I could find 17 beginner interns that would be faster and more efficient than me, right? But hopefully telling a story around it will be what I can do for you guys. But, so one of the things that I feel right now is that we've been offering analytics and data to people for 25 years. And from that perspective, I feel we got lost along the way. Not necessarily us, but what we do, right? Because we've always had this approach that if we gather all the data, then we can make all the decisions, right? So that's the reason why we gather all the data. And I get it, and you probably get it as well. If you come to somebody and say, hey, what data do you, so going to a customer saying, what data do you want me to gather? They will look at you and say, hey, stupido, everything, right? But the problem with gathering everything is that we have to maintain everything, right? And there's so much maintenance going on, so we only have limited time, so all the time and effort is being pushed to maintenance of a data set that we never really use. But when we talk to C-level, when we talk to marketing managers, when we talk to the big bosses, for 25 years they've been promised that data will give them decisions, actions, and insights, right? But we never really got to that. We're still doing the data. It's like, yeah, man, just one more year. Next year, I'm going to have the data. I will give you some advice next year. So we need to flip that thinking a bit. And what we created, what we basically created is we, with the data that we monitor now and gather all the time, we created this fully stocked kitchen. This is an AI picture. I don't know if you look at some of the sizes of the meat, chunks of meat. I don't know what animal that was supposed to come from. But we have this fully stocked kitchen, right? Every day, if you see that, that's the data we bring in. It can make 1,000 things. People can make everything. But the problem with this is that nobody's going into the kitchen. We're harvesting and picking things up and filling this kitchen, and nobody ever goes in there. And if they go in there, well, then they'll probably have no idea what to do with it. They'll go in and say, well, maybe I'll make a banana pancake steak, right? Because, yeah, why not? But they haven't never tried anything, so sure we have some condiments that can hide most flavors. But the big problem with this is basically that the problem with all these things we gather is that data has a half-life, right? So the information we gather every day will have less value tomorrow. And depending on what type of data it is, but this is extremely important in the marketing field, that the data that we gather loses its value every moment it's not being used. Because it's like somebody goes out there, they do a Google search, nearest ice cream store. How long is that search valid, right? It's very short, and there might be different things with different lengths, but it's something that we never take into account, and our job is to keep this kitchen stock all the time. But when I talk to customers, and this is, as you can see, my Swedish customer, Anna. Anna is the CDO for a large, fast-moving consumer good in Sweden. Her situation is that she had, 2 years ago, she had 10 people under her. Now she has 5. Her day looks like she comes in at 7:30. She leaves at 7:30. She has half an hour to do stuff in the morning. She has half an hour to do stuff in the afternoon. And the rest is back-to-back meetings, right? So I had a conversation with her saying, well, what data do you want? And she went, I don't want any data. There's no, what do you want on the dashboard? I don't have time to look at a dashboard. It doesn't make sense. Give me, what else can you do? Right? What we build for another customer, we can build you an LM. You can ask it any questions. It will tell you anything that goes on. It will be an analyst in a box. Yeah, that's nice, but I don't have time to sit down and ask questions. Okay. So where do we go with a situation like this, right? Because if this is Anna's world, then how are we supposed to bring data to her? She has no time to look at it. We see it. There's this meta thing where people are talking about now doing dashboards for dashboards, because we build so many dashboards that people never look at, so we start having dashboards to see if anybody's looking at the dashboards. And they're not. A very depressive situation, right? So we need to flip our thinking in this and say, what is it that we can do differently, and where can we help people get back on path? Because most people we go to them with the saying, okay, I want to help you. I have all the data in the world. I have all data. So what data do you want? And people are like, well, I don't know, right? Like, what data do I want? If you don't have any skills, it's like, hey, what numbers do you want from the financial department? I don't know. It's like, what numbers do they have, right? So we kind of have this divide in relation to people who do not have the skill. So instead of looking at trying to make all the decisions, we have to move the thinking to a decision first focus. So instead of going to people and say, what data do you want? Then we need to go to them and say, okay, what decisions are you making? Because then suddenly we can help them if they say, oh cool, I'm making decisions about online marketing, specifically in an omni-channel in relation to some specific channels. Okay, then we can actually go into the kitchen and we can throw half the things on the table away and tell them, okay, cool, this is what you need for your decision. So we need to be the translator helping them to make decisions. And the value of that, of course, is that that's what they're being measured on. And that's another good question, asking them, what are you being measured on? What are your KPIs? And then in helping them fulfilling those KPIs with data. So just having that change will open up for an idea where we stop gathering all the data and we instead can focusing on just gathering the data that people are using. So it's kind of flipping the thinking. Instead of gathering everything so people can do what they want, then we narrow it and say, so what do you want? And then we start by giving you that, and then we can grow it from there because we have more, but it's not primary, right? So if Piotr is the most amazing muffin chef in the world, and that is his narrow field, we don't have to throw him that much meat and salad unless he wants to experiment sometime. There's some very specific things he needs to do on his daily basis. And we just need to make sure that it's there and that it's fresh, right? And that's kind of the problem because, well, it is part of the story saying that we've been told that data is the new oil. Well, it's not. For a while I went around saying data is meat, it can be aged, and then it's still good, and then it rots, right? So we kind of have so it needs to grade, but in a lot of cases, and especially on the tactical side, when it comes to marketing, our data is a freaking soft ice, right? It has such a short-term value. It's back to the half-life. It's gonna melt. It's gonna be worthless tomorrow. So giving somebody yesterday soft ice doesn't really make them happy, right? So be aware of that, saying that we have to be much more relevant and focus much more on the deliverables on the other side. So we made this wonderful model, and it's interesting in the sense that this is a lot the approach that we've been having to data for a long time. We've been going in and saying, okay, we gather some business event, then we have to prep it for analysis, then we deliver this analysis, and then somebody decides on it. And the problem with this flow is that the amount of time it takes from us gathering the data to having delivered the analysis to people making the decision is so long that the result they get out of it when they actually do take the action at the end is nowhere as valuable as it would have been if they had been able to do it in the beginning. So for us, that also means that we have to flip our thinking and start focusing more on predictive side of our data. Because there is a huge value in prediction, because we can actually tell people, we can actually pre-do the analysis, so when the data comes in, we know what it's supposed to do. This is kind of tying into the automation world. It's also where we have to change our narrative and saying, for 25 years we've been saying we still need a little more data to deliver on the analysis. right, to give you the value. And I think we have to shut up with that. We know it's still part of the job. Not delay it anymore. So now we say, okay, guys, listen up, good. Now we have all the data. Now I need to integrate it into the other systems so we can create value, right? So it's actually flipping the thinking, and this is the reason why this is relevant. It's really a big part of the Google roadmap coming in relation to tying data into other systems. So by having this approach, we actually go into a situation where we proactively becomes able to push or activate the data even before somebody does it. So if I go out of this building afterwards completely knackered, you'll be standing there with a soft ice in your hand and say, it's only going to be 10 euros, Steen. And I'll probably buy it because I will need my damn soft ice, right? And that's kind of the thing with Anna, right? Anna has, why does she have analytics? She has analytics because she want to make the decision, right? She want to save time. Does she have the data because she wants to log into analytics? No. She doesn't care, right? She only has one thing in mind, and that is delivering on her KPIs. So this has already been kind of sneak released, but there's a big thing coming over the coming months in relation to Google, talking about something called the budget planning tools. I don't know if you've seen a sneak of something of it today. But no? Okay, oh yeah. But the budget planning tool basically turns everything we know around. And instead of saying what is the one quality that Google Analytics has for us and for Anna, it's the one repository where she can put all her channels together. And it doesn't sound like a big thing, but it is a big thing because what happens otherwise is Anna will be having to look at a report from Meta. She would have to look at a report from Pinterest. She would have to look at a report from different channels and try to stitch that together, or put it into an M&M, or put it into another attribution model somewhere to try to understand what's going on. And with the budgeting tools, the idea is saying by integrating all these sources directly into Google, then we will not only get better data, but Google will become a decision engine. And this is an example of one of these tools. It's called it's the budget planner. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is there we go to the forecasting, because if you go into Google Analytics, if you've set this up and you put the numbers in, well, what you will have is you will go in and say, I'm running a campaign that has this objective, and Analytics will actually tell you whether you're on path or not. Right? So it's the first time where we actually get something active where it goes and predict whether we're going to be hitting the target or not. So we can operationally use it to navigate like a GPS while we're running the campaign, saying we're going to be going in below target. We need to change. It's specifically this element of the campaign that is underperforming. So we can move the energy around, or the budgets around. So that's super interesting because it gives us a completely different role than analytics. So it's not just about gathering the data, it's actually helping deliver on the promise of the value. And there's a lot more coming around this, because I think if you look at the bigger picture for Google, Google Analytics is an amazing tool, but this is the unique selling point. And this is Steen's vision. Google has not kind of signed up Steen and given me the t-shirt. Steen's official version is the official one. But this is at least one version where I can see that analytics will remain massively relevant for a really long time. So when we deliver this, there has been no better time of being an analyst, because this is the time where we actually can step up to the table and help companies deliver value and the return on marketing. Because the evil question asking you guys, so why did anybody hire you? Right? Why does people take it personally, and then it is an abstract question. So I got to see everybody like, what, me? No, but the key thing in this is saying that, well, why do anybody hire anybody? Companies hire people because they believe the company will be better with the person in it. So that means that everybody is an investment. But if we don't perceive ourselves as an investment, we don't know what we're supposed to deliver. Right? So we will be in a situation where we might be working in, sure, I'm just doing reporting. Yeah, but why are you doing reporting? Well, you're doing reporting because that data is supposed to be activated to deliver value. So when I teach people saying, okay, tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow, Monday, you go to work, when you put your hand on the handle to leave the building saying, okay, would I have paid somebody else the same salary I got today to deliver the value to the company that I delivered today? It's going to hurt a couple of times. Because, and even in Anna's case that has back-to-back meetings, she's in doubt, right? Because she's just spending her time sitting in meetings, making pseudo decisions, and just listening to other people talking about the decisions that's going to be made, right? But are we actually pushing the bucket and delivering value? So I think that's a really interesting approach, saying, well, I'm here and I'm here with a reason. We see it a lot in even in the big companies now, people saying they're measuring how well do you perform. How do you measure the performance of an analyst? It shouldn't be data quality. Data quality is important and that is the foundation, but it's not a goal in itself, because data quality without action is just data. So, what's the problems in this? Well, there are three key problems as I see it, right? So one thing is the trust issue, data quality, and actionability. Now the trust issue, and this is a trust issue, saying what the ambition is here is that you will start uploading a lot more cost data, both on product and everything, and other campaigns, and doing direct integration with other channels, and upload it to Google Analytics. So the trust issue, and this is going to be a tough sale in do you trust Google to have all that business information about you? Right? Because that is one of the big barriers that we have to decide, saying, if you decide to do it, you will get massive amounts of value in relation to what comes out on the other side. But I know it's politics, and it's not something where I can say, Sten signed and said, no, don't worry, mate. Right? So this is decisions that you have to consider yourself. But with the approach that is in the budget planning tool, there's no alternative that will deliver the same value. So it's kind of a classic situation, is that there's a risk and there's a reward. And the challenge is flipping it around, saying, if you don't take the risk and your competitors do, then you're at a massive disadvantage. So, yay, just the thing you needed before Friday, right? The other thing, and this is something that is also tied into to a lot of the activities, this is Sten's conspiracy theory. Google has not told me it's not so I will keep spreading it until they tell me I'm a liar. One of the problems that Google has, see, a good sentence to open with. One of the problems that Google has is that they offer us, with consent mode, they offer us model data. The problem with model data is that to model data, we need predictable, consistent data. The worst place to get predictable, consistent data is in marketing, because we do different shit all the time. So you suddenly start running a campaign at a time you didn't run it normally. You suddenly start doing channels. And Google is sitting there, something happening on the page, and they're just expected to magically know what the fuck we're thinking about. And of course they can. So a lot of the initiatives are also added because in that equation it will enable Google to deliver much better modeling for us, because we will be putting campaign data in. So Google will know, okay, they're starting a campaign on Sunday. It will be running on Pinterest and TikTok. And these are the budgets and these are the objectives. Okay, I can live with that. I can add that to the model, because that will just make things clearer. So that's kind of the challenge, right? That's one of the, because with the data quality we have now, I've been traveling the world for years now saying that the worst data you have, I see in 95 out of 100 analytics implementations. And it's sad, it's on the marketing data. We are really bad at doing campaign tracking, and it's like external agency not putting on the UTM codes, and oh, we forgot it again, and he forgot it again, and it wasn't me, right? And so one of the big questions is like, so who's responsible for campaign tracking? Now it's where you all look at me and say, Steen, who's responsible for campaign tracking in your organization? And you'll look at me, Steen, don't be silly, we all are, right? And in most organizations, in at least, this of course goes for the Nordics, it's not here, you're much more professional than this, right? So, but in the Nordics it would be, if it's everybody's problem, then it's nobody's problem, right? If nobody has the responsibility for this, then nobody takes the responsibility. It's like, yeah, I know I'm really busy. Why don't I just clean up the marketing data? It's a sentence you will never hear, right? So we need to place that ownership somewhere, and Google is helping us doing it because there is a much stronger correlation between the value we get out of better campaign tracking, or there will be coming a much stronger correlation between the better campaign tracking and business value. So I think that is super interesting. So of course the last thing, and this is where we need to rethink our thinking. We all seen this wonderful model around process, people, and technology, digital transformation. It was supposed to be so amazing, and so this could be a picture of your organization. Now we say 10 years later, 15 years later, yeah, we look a bit like this. Every time we got a new problem, we added more tech. Yeah, that sounds like a tech problem. That sounds like a tech problem. There's probably a tech solution for that, right? So we never really upskilled the people to use all this tech, right? So because in most cases, I get a lot of applications from people who say, I am a super user of the Office stack. I double dare you on that. Super user is somebody that knows all the functionalities and all the technologies, but everybody, when we apply for a job, we are super user of the Office stack. Worst case, best case, we're kind of a mediocre fumbling amateur of the Office stack, but it doesn't look good on your resume. But that's just the truth. We don't have time to go in depth with technology. We kind of have to skim the surface, because every time a new technology is added and no people are added, then it's also your responsibility to handle this stack. Because when you buy the stack and you just get told, well, this stack, it's plug and play and it basically runs itself. It's like magic wand. You don't have to do anything. You just have to sit back and watch the money come in. And we heard that too much now. So the change in this, and this is kind of the last element, is we see right now a massive shift that we all need to think into. And this is actually saying, we're not going to get more people. Going back to your office and say, hey boss, can we hire 4 more analysts? Because I think we need them. That's a tough sale, right? But what we can do is we can try to tie AI in to handle and support these processes. And this is kind of also the bigger picture. And this is where I see the role of AI in analytics, is making sure that a lot of the practical stuff is being handled. So for me, it's, yeah, there's a big picture in relations to all this data we have. There's been a lot of talk about saying, when we have the data, it'll be like a symphony orchestra. Have you heard this metaphor? And everybody's playing the right tune at the right time, and everything is perfect, and ding, that was the triangle. Everything perfect execution and automated. The problem is that a symphony is a massively predictable piece of art. We cannot be massively predictable when the outside world looks like this and is massively chaotic. So what we need to rethink our analytics stack and our technology thinking into, and this is where we need the tools, is saying, it's not a symphony, it's a jazz jam session. So it's about using the different tools have to make the other players look good, so everything comes into a higher entity and a higher combination, but not just saying, it's not a very narrow role, it's about listening to what's going on around you and supporting that song. Does that make sense? So the difference of these two approaches? Good. So this has made grown analysts cry, so hand out the handkerchief now, David. Because then we see an increasing need, and this is actually where the Google change will also support you. But it's only a question of time before somebody will knock on your door and say, hey, can I get the data? Do you have an analytics so I can put it into an AI? And for most organizations, that is a scary scenario because we know that our data in analytics, it's a lot of wonderful things, but AI ready is not one of them. Because it's some of the worst data compared to what AIs are normally used to work with, right? And that's a bad confrontation for us because then we suddenly have to tell people, nah, not really, you can't have it. Or my data is not good enough. And what do you mean it's not good enough? You've been working here 15 years and it's still not ready? Yeah, just need a little more tweaking, right? And this is not a Google thing. I talked to an old colleague of mine. He had changed jobs, and for the last 5 years, he's been working for a company. I'm going to badmouth a specific brand now, but it's actually not about them. For 5 years, he's been trying to do a Telium CDP implementation. And I was like, hey, man, that's amazing. I'm doing an event. Won't you come by and present your case? And then a mail I got back from him, yeah, he would really like it, but he's not really ready yet. He doesn't think they have anything to show. And if anybody in the room knows what a Telium CDP license costs, that's a horrible message to get back. And maybe it's a big organization where you can hide this cost somewhere. Or saying it's the vision, it's one day in the future we'll need this, right? So having this reality check in relation to saying, what's the timeline when we have to show value? So this could be the kitchen too, and this is what I often see, right? This is because it's a lot of work going to talk to people about decisions, and we chose to become an analyst because we really don't like to talk to people. We would rather send a mail, send a report, something, right? But actually talking to people and listening to the problems, that's something we try to get removed from our job descriptions. So what we do instead is say, yeah, everybody, I've given you access to the data. And what we basically have done is we have this chaos, right? People having no idea what they're doing, fires in the kitchen, and people just jumping around. So this is kind of the scenario we have to stand back from and saying, okay, because we have a chance to be noticed by management, we have a chance to get a seat at the important table because what we can bring is actually really amazingly important. So back to Anna. So when I continued my conversation with Anna, and this kind of ties into it, right? Because what did Anna actually want? So I said, okay, what we can do instead of you having to fidget around, we put a Google Home on top. So when you come into the office in the morning, you can say, good morning, Google, how was the business yesterday? And then it would tell her highlights and focus things and what had happened. And she was like, yeah, it's not good enough. Because then I would have to follow up, and then I would have to send mails to people. It's like, okay, but then we have to put in agents there so you can actually talk to it and say, okay, this number was a problem. Send the report to Bob that he needs to do this. And make sure that the agency gets this message. And they're like, okay, this I would like. Right? Because then she can, and that is possibly as far removed from the data that you can possibly be. And it's all focused around the decisions. Right? So that's kind of the shift. Yes, we need to work in the engine room. We need to make sure that people can make these decisions because that is really important for the value that we can create for the organization. And that's the value that we bring to the business. And with that, I have stolen enough of your lives, maybe. If you want more, I have other stories to tell, but that will be tomorrow. Thank you. And David got so emotional he had to leave the room. See, the benefit of talking this stuff that I talk about is like, I'm just a dude with an opinion. You're welcome to have another opinion, and I will defend mine. So bring it on. But I hope it was inspirational. That's why David called me and said, Steen, you need to come and light a fire under these dudes. Thank you.